Hey, good afternoon, everybody. Figured I'd get this stream started a few minutes early for a couple of reasons. One, it is Monday, so I'll be joined by Edwin Dorsey from the Bear Cave in a couple of minutes. And then I'll be joined by Joel Elconin, of course, at 3:30. So I just wanted to get started here a few minutes early and just see what you all are trading and talking about, because we had a lot of news today. Internet news, too. Like, do you guys see this Rocket headline? Let me bring up my charts here. That's not Rocket. RKT is, I was looking at the industrials here. Rocket apparently is getting into the solar panel game. We're even wondering what they're going to do with all their cash. I guess that partly answers that question. That was not expected. Raise your hand if you called Rocket companies getting into solar panels. And what about that square rip? I still am, to be honest with you, I'm not quite sure why. I know this rip happened when the CFO was on CNBC. It could have been that, but holy cow, what a freaking turnaround in this thing. Insane, right? This thing was down all morning and then Rip City at the open. I mean, I just did not see that coming in any way, shape, or form. Also, Tesla and AMD having just great days today, right? Tesla is up another 3%. Goodbye, $700. Hello, $800. Do I hear 800? Do I hear 800? I think maybe soon at this rate. And then AMD is just not going to stop, I think, right? It's just still going. 109, guys. 109. This is insane. Holy. The FOMO is real. Yo, Joe, the FOMO is real. Am I right? In this AMD? I mean, come on. How could you not have FOMO in this thing? It's ridiculous. Anyway, there was just a bunch of things going on today. I wanted to talk about I want to get Joel's thoughts on this Rocket thing. That should be interesting. Let's go over to my movers tool or my scanner. Who just dropped YOU in chat? That was Easy Mike. Yeah, that is among my top gainers today as well. Also YMM, and then look at Affirm. We did talk about this morning, guys, did we not? M&A speculation, right? Huge premium for Afterpay. I guess theoretically any bank could buy Affirm in theory, right? So the market's saying. Anyway, it's up 15% today. Biggest day for Affirm in quite some time. Interesting that we did stop out at the what was the high from July 13th? 66.80. And what's the high today? 66.88. Interesting. There's just a lot going on here. So what I want to do is, in a couple of minutes, I'm going to get Edwin Dorsey on here from the short report. He's got a few things on his radar. He wants to talk about Nikola. And he put together this really good resource as well. 100 must follow Twitter accounts. I hope I'm on there, but I might not be. We'll find out. But he's really good with like compiling free resources, right? For people to use. That's sort of Edwin's forte, is finding like free stuff, free ways to research stocks, and that sort of thing. So I'll have Edwin on in a couple of minutes, and then right before that, I just want to play a quick crypto update. But hey, did you guys see GE today? Hey, look, sometimes we call them right, sometimes we get them wrong. We were right this morning. It just said it looks like a stock you want to short. I'm sure Joel is. Actually, no, I'm not sure Joel was all over this one, but I'm sure he wanted to be all over this one. Maybe he was. We'll find out at 3:30 whether Joel was all over this. But this looks like Joel's going to regret it. Put it that way. This one has Joel FOMO written all over it if he didn't get in on this action, because we know he did from this morning. Anyway, what are you all trading? Bill Big D is looking at Zscaler, all-time high. Andre is shorting AMD. Good luck with that, Andre. Send me all your money while you're at it. Just catching up here. Yeah, Joanne is all over Tesla. There's just so much activity today. Some days are quiet, some days are not. Don't forget, on the earnings front, we do have NXPI tonight, and we have Take-Two Interactive tonight. So I have those on my radar: TTWO and XPI. If the ON report was any indication this morning, NXPI should be a good report. Anyway, okay, here's what I want to do. I have a quick crypto update. We're going to start doing these 3 days a week, every day. And then I'm going to bring on Edwin Dorsey from the Bear Cave. So let's play that update for you.
Hey, it's Michael Murray back with your midday crypto markets update powered by Voyager. Cryptocurrency broker Voyager Digital announced Monday its purchase of crypto payment company Coinify for $84 million in cash and stock. Voyager said in a release that the deal would allow its customers to make payments directly from their crypto accounts, as well as accelerate international growth. Coinify has users in over 150 countries. Voyager said its user base grew over 1,400% in the first 6 months of 2021. Square sees Bitcoin revenue increase year over year, decline from Q1 in other headlines. Square, the mobile payments and crypto trading platform, recorded its revenue from Bitcoin increased substantially in the most recent quarter compared to the same period in 2020, though revenue was down slightly compared to Q1. The company said revenue from Bitcoin trading on its Cash App tripled to $2.72 billion in Q2, up from $875 million a year earlier, while Bitcoin gross profit rose to $55 million from $17 million just a year ago. However, both numbers were lower compared to the first quarter of 2021, driven by a decline in Bitcoin's price. As a result, the company realized a $45 million impairment charge on the Bitcoin it holds on its balance sheet. Square also said that as of June 30th, the fair value of the company's Bitcoin investment was $281 million. Enterprise software company NCR Corporation announced on Monday its acquisition of LibertyX, the Bitcoin ATM operator. LibertyX was founded in 2013 and operates over 10,000 ATMs inside of the U.S. NCR said it will offer LibertyX software capabilities as part of its solutions for banks, retailers, and restaurants. Terms of the deal were not disclosed. As always, the Benzinga Crypto Update is brought to you by Voyager. With more than 60 assets to choose from and annual interest earnings up to 12%, Voyager is your launchpad into the world of crypto. Get $50 in free Bitcoin when you use code ZING on Voyager, deposit at least $100, and make your first trade.
All right, let's bring on Edwin Dorsey here from the Bear Cave. We missed him last week, so I'm excited to talk to him. Edwin, what's up, man? How are we doing?
Spencer, I'm doing great. Thanks for having me on again. I'm always excited to get on Benzinga.
You're always excited. I think you're probably more so excited today, probably because you can't wait to talk about Trevor Milton. Am I right?
Absolutely. There's a lot going on, and it's always fun to get a high-profile indictment. And the big news is SEC enforcement is back. So that's going to be exciting.
All right, let's start there. Is it back, or is this just a case of the low-hanging fruit?
I think it's back. I think we're going to see a lot more stuff like this. One thing that's really exciting is the SEC seems to be pushing towards more transparency. Gary Gensler joined Twitter recently and has started tweeting about his rulemaking agenda and what he wants to see done. I think getting that level of transparency is good and shows they really do want to communicate with the market more and do more. I think we're going to see a lot of stuff in SPAC land. Gary Gensler highlighted that as one of his top 3 objectives. He's also going to be pushing for a lot more disclosure around ESG. So I think we're going to see a lot of companies start to disclose more about their carbon footprint and how climate change might affect their business. I'm more excited about the SPAC stuff and seeing more people get in trouble, but that's just me.
What do you say to the people? And I have yet to really hear a great counterpoint to this, but like, what did Trevor Milton really do that Elon Musk hasn't done in a way? I know there are some things, but like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, well, it seems like if you just look over Trevor Milton's history, there's a lot of people who have been pissed off or screwed out of money with him. I think he was charged in Utah for some sexual assault things, which, Elon Musk hasn't been charged on anything like that. Trevor Milton, you said they had a truck in motion when they were rolling it down a hill, albeit that happened as a private company years before the IPO. That's one thing that gets a lot of attention that, didn't happen while it was a public company. Ours was a private company. In the indictment, they say that Milton would actively monitor a website that showed how many users on Robinhood were holding the stock. Elon Musk is promotional with social media, but it's more just him expressing himself, where Milton, it seemed a lot around getting people to buy Nikola. And then the biggest thing is investors in Nikola have lost money. And at the SEC's press conference, they say they want to focus on situations where executives use social media to induce people to buy stock, and there's investor losses. So if there's investor losses, that adds a lot more scrutiny to it, and that's some way Milton is differentiated from Musk.
That, you know what? I think you just hit the nail on the head. That's the difference. Is few people have lost money on Tesla, well, on the long side. A lot of people, everybody seems like they lost money on Nikola. Not everybody, but most people lost money on Nikola on the long side. So that's probably the biggest difference right there. I think you probably hit the nail on the head.
The joke often with the regulators is that the SEC is like a financial archaeologist. They like to come in after the fact and say what went wrong, less so about preventing it from proactively happening. That's more the job of activist short sellers.
All right. Speaking of active short sellers, SEC enforcement aside, we did have some new short reports out last week. Tell us about them.
So there was two that I found really interesting. 2 weeks ago, Just a Flat Research published on Adapt Health. They're a recent SPAC. One thing they highlighted that's always a red flag is the CEO, CFO, Chief Sales Officer, Chief Technical Officer, Technology Officer all resigned in the last year. They also highlighted that the organic sales growth might be being gamed with like acquisitions. I found that interesting. They're a relatively new anonymous activist that doesn't have a big following. When you get situations like that, sometimes they can put out good research and the thesis will play out over a long time versus if a Muddy Waters comes out, you see a reaction right away. So that was an interesting one on a SPAC.
The ticker is AHCO on this.
Yeah, and the stock, I think, is down 20% over the last 2 weeks. So it does seem like people have become a little more skeptical. The other one that is worth talking about is Culper Research put out a report on a company called Ametis. I think that's how you say it. They are a renewable energy, biofuels, very speculative company that went public through a reverse merger a few years ago. Culper showed something really cool in his report. I think I sent you a link to a Twitter thread. What this company has done is they've made a whole bunch of like speculative investments, including they bought a 20% stake in an electric vehicle company called Nevo Motors, which has been the secretive stealth EV startup. And Nevo Motors is more or less just a shell company. And Culper had a great image in his report, which is that the company's new truck, their biofuel truck, is actually just a regular truck with a Nevo Motors logo photoshopped on it. And that got some attention on Twitter. So Trevor Milton faked a truck rolling. This company didn't even build a truck. They just photoshopped their logo on.
Wait, what date did this report come out on AMTX?
It was sometime last week. I'm not sure when.
Oh, wait, I think it says July 29th. So let's just go look at, see what the market reaction was on the 29th. Muted. I mean, we are down, but that's what the overall market really is. So,
the CEO and chairman of this company has previously been associated with 5 other microcaps that are now bankrupt or near bankrupt, which is not a great sign. And he's been charged with the SEC for misstating revenue and expenses in the past, not related to this company. But so if I had to bet on a company like, not doing too well over the next 12 months, Ametis would be high on my list. Although I don't know what the borrow situation is.
So we had 2 short reports again last week. We had this firm that I'm not going to try to pronounce on AHCO. I'll put that link in the chat. There it is. And then the other report was from Culper Research on AMTX. I'll put that link in the chat as well. There it is. For those who are interested, have at it. There you go. So was that all in terms of new short reports last week?
There was a new guy who doesn't have much of a following called Mostly Borrowed Short Ideas. He's on Twitter, and he published like this long article about Triteris, which is a company I've written about in the past. They're a Singapore-based company that went public through a SPAC that supposedly uses like fintech to revolutionize like commodity trading. That firm has a lot of problems with it. So there's a report on Triteris. Although that company's, the borrow is like 60%. So I think everybody knows there's a lot wrong there.
Oh, that way, that's a good thing. That means buy it for a squeeze, right?
I don't think so. So I think that research shows that heavily shorted companies tend to drastically underperform. But if you're a smart trader, maybe.
Yeah. In the long term, maybe. In the short term, not so fast.
Exactly. If you're a day trader on Benzinga, maybe it'll work.
Maybe. Okay. I also want to talk about this interesting. No, actually, before we get to that, dude, we got to talk about China. Oh my gosh, what do you make of the chaos in China right now? I mean, TAL education, they had to cancel their earnings report because, like, what are they going to say? Same thing with new education as well. What do you make of that craziness over in China?
I've never owned a Chinese stock. I don't think I ever will, because in order to be a really great investor, you need a country with a strong rule of law. There's a great slide presentation by Connor Haley. He's a hedge fund manager, about all the companies that went up 100x since going public, like all the huge multi-baggers. And if you look, they're not all in the US, but they're all in countries with strong rule of law, like Europe and Australia and France and stuff like that. You don't get it in a country that doesn't have a strong rule of law. So in China, you got this huge overhang now that investors are realizing. I don't think it's going to go away. I think the situation probably gets worse. Carson Block once said that even the honest Chinese companies overstate revenue by 20 to 30%. And if you're overstating revenue by that much, you don't know how much profit's being impacted. And finally, like, if you're investing in China, the thing that drives the stocks in the long run is the ties to the government and how they adapt to government regulation.
Right.
You're not going to be smart on that if you're a U.S. solo investor. Like, the people who do well with Chinese stocks, in my opinion, will be people who are in China, understand the culture, understand where the government's shifting. You're totally the dumb money in this if you're an individual retail investor trading it. So my personal view is stay away, and that's what I tell my friends to do.
That was my thinking too. Like, because I had this one ETF, but I was like, "There's no way that I will be able to determine for myself what is really going on over there." And if I have no way of knowing, then I should just get the hell out, which is what I did. So yeah, I mean, Alibaba reports tomorrow morning. It's going to be a really interesting report. I could see a scenario where the stock, goes up to 220. What is that, right? It's at 200 right now. I could see a scenario where we go to 220. I could see a scenario where we go to 180. I don't know. It's crazy. But I thought, of all people, you would appreciate the developments of the last week or two in China, because it sort of speaks to the bear case, basically the worst case scenario coming to fruition.
One interesting theory I heard from someone who lives in Asia is China has a population problem. There's not a lot of babies right now, kind of stemming from the one-child policy a long time ago. So one reason they're targeting a lot of these online education companies and trying to get them to lower costs and become nonprofits is because they want to lower the cost of raising children in China. And if the government wants to do that, they lower the cost of education. And the people who lose are all the U.S. shareholders in these Chinese companies, which the Chinese government's okay with. So
that's an interesting theory. It's an interesting theory. I don't know how true it is, but it is an interesting theory nonetheless. And the last thing I want to talk about with you, Edwin, today was you put together this pretty good, long list, pretty good list of I'll put the link in the chat here of the 100 must follow financial Twitter accounts. I forgive you for not including me, but that is okay. I use Twitter more for lurking anyway. But I'm going to put this link in the chat. And can you just talk through a little bit about, like, who are the types of people on this list?
So I think there's a lot of value on Twitter, and there's some accounts that really do deep work on companies and will occasionally tweet out actionable research. And I tried to rank the 100 best accounts that are sharing single stock name research. And oftentimes these accounts will have like 100 or 200 followers. The one at the top of my list, Bill Martin at Raging Ventures, he only tweets about companies. He's always just sharing ideas he's in, and like this, and and he's always right, or usually right, but he had like 200 followers. So, you know, and it was so frustrating to me that these high value accounts that just add a ton, like, don't get enough. Ricky Sandler runs a $8 billion hedge fund, Eminence Capital. He's been tweeting about the stocks he thinks are good and bad and like single name companies. And he doesn't have much of a following. And it's like, how can you have some of the greatest investors on here, like, get no followings, and then people who are just hyper promotional have these huge followings? That was frustrating me. So I tried to make this list. I ranked the top 25 hedge fund managers on there, and then 75 other accounts that were sharing really good single stock investment research that I follow, and I think everyone else should.
And this is just like stock research, or is it like general, like other people on here that like are more macro focused? There are a bunch of names that you all should recognize, right? Like Bill Ackman. I don't know how active he is on Twitter really, but like Super Megatu, you know, great follow, right? Dan McMurtry, super great follow. Not everyone here, it appears, is super active on Twitter, but some more than others. But oh hey, Donut Shorts, they're a great follow. I follow Donut Shorts. A lot of names here I don't know, but some of these I do. Yeah,
I really tried to focus, Spencer, on like underfollowed accounts, like accounts with under 500 followers. Non-Gap tweets a ton about corporate governance.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Which he always finds weird option grants, and it's like, oh, this means the company could like have a good news event next month, and then next month it's up 50% on some good news event. He's like a magician almost. And if you scroll more towards the bottom, I didn't just rank the top Twitter accounts. I also ranked the best free Substack email newsletters and the best free stock research websites. So I Borrow Desk and Short Squeeze, which are at the top of the best free research websites. They give a ton of free data on stock borrow, how much stock is available to borrow, and, you know, how much stock is shorted of a company's float, which isn't always super easy to find.
I've been using shortsqueeze.com for years. Let me just say this. It is pretty much as good as you're going to get for a free resource. It is not always accurate, nor is it complete. But again, it's free.
Thank you.
So beggars can't be choosers. For a free resource, it's pretty much about as good as you're going to get for short interest data.
Thank you for that disclaimer, Spencer. And then finally, I think there's a lot of really great free Substack newsletters, just people who are in the investment world and want to share some of their research and then share these great write-ups, and they don't get enough traction. My favorite is French Hidden Champions. And like these guys, every month they find like an obscure company in France that's like a niche and family owned that's really good, and then like recommend it and do a cool write-up on it. And I don't invest in French stocks, but it's still just interesting.
I just repasted the link in the chat. This is from Edwin's newsletter, The Bear Cave on Substack. He put together a pretty compelling, again, free resource of other free resources. So check this out. Edwin Dorsey, he writes the Bear Cave newsletter, and he comes on every Monday to talk about what's happening in short report land. And we appreciate that. Edwin, thanks a lot. And we'll see you again next Monday.
Sounds good, Spencer.
All right. Always so cheery. Ken Bosak, is Joel here? No. Holy crap, Ken Bosak. What did you just do? Just dropped us $100 super chat. Ken, what do you want us to talk about, man? I'll talk about whatever you want to talk about. All right, you say the word. You drop a ticker in there. It's yours as far as what we're going to talk about. Or maybe Ken just had a really good day. This reminds me of the time that someone dropped us like a 4-figure super chat comment, but it wasn't in US dollars, and we all got excited. Then we realized it was like Norwegian, or I don't even remember. It was like a year ago. But Ken Bosak, thank you very much for that. Ken, that thing is just feeling the love today. All right, that's great. That was supposed to be a 10. That would be funny, wouldn't it? That would be hilarious. Ken, why don't you just email here? Do this, Ken. Where's my email? I'll pull it up. Ken, just email shows@benzinga.com. And you know what? This goes for all y'all, okay? Anybody that ever wants to come on the stream, hang out with us. I can't promise, I can't promise Joel and Dennis, or a specific time, but we can talk about it. Email us, shows@benzinga.com. Second thing I will say is we are a couple weeks away now from the first ever pre-market prep boot camp. I think you can call it a boot camp. That's what it is. And I'll put the link up on the screen here. There it is. Okay. August 21st. Okay, so 3 Saturdays from now, Joel and Dennis for 3 hours in the morning, 9 to noon. Full disclosure, I will not be there. I actually have a wedding on that day in near Albany, New York. So if anyone, or actually near Wyndham, so if anyone is listening from Wyndham, has any good recs, let me know. I will not be there. But Joel and Dennis and Dennis's boss, Rob Friesen, will be there for 3 full hours on the 21st to go more in depth on everything we don't normally get to talk about during the show. Ken is having a great day. Ken, some days are just good days, man. I hear you. I hear you. Okay, so pre-market prep bootcamp. There it is. Link is in the description, by the way. I should mention that. The link is in the description to this video. It's right there. Sign up for the 3-hour pre-market prep education event. Okay. It is 3:30, and Joel says he's here, but he's not here, which is weird. 1 second. There he is. I think he may have been in the wrong place, but it's okay. We'll cut him some slack. It's his first day back. All right, let's start the At the Close show, shall we? I say we do that. All right, it is time for pre-market prep at the close.
3 consecutive highs, opened, matched yesterday's low, and then once it took out there, that's all the breakout momentum traders needed.
Joel, I was just talking about the boot camp on the 21st that you guys are running.
Yeah. Do we get some questions or?
Nope, I was just mentioning it how I won't be there because I have a wedding.
You do? Where at?
Near Wyndham, New York.
Okay.
And also you missed this, Joel. Ken Bosak just dropped us 100 spot. He told us to buy Bitcoin with it, so I don't know if I should do that or not. Bitcoin is trading down today, but anyway.
Wow, Ken's a new one. Thanks, Ken. I guess we could cover some symbols for Ken today, or
that's okay. Yeah, whatever you want, man. Whatever you want to talk about, Ken. This is your show.
All right, let's run things down here real quickly. I thought I did share the charts. That overnight fluff is exactly what it was. We couldn't take out that pre-market high. In fact, we couldn't even come anywhere near close to that. 1975 is what we hit overnight. Stopped at 44.14. That's a nice round number. We just made the low for the session. 43.80, 350. So in the red by a little bit. It just feels a little bit heavier just because we were up so much. And I noticed this morning that on a couple of the breaks, it just seems like we had a couple rallies, and I just see someone just wanted to sell boatload that kind of held up for a while, and then we finally took out the pre-market low, continuing lower as we speak, down 6 1/4. Crude's not helping things. That's down 258 at 71.37. Gold, this is called flat at 18.17. Silver, that's down about 6 cents, 25.49. Bitcoin down $475 at 39,480. Ethereum, that's up $248 at 26.40. Ken, this is kind of no man's land for me. As far as buying Bitcoin, we hit the top of that trading range has persisted since mid-May. right about that 41K area. And last Thursday when I was out, they pushed it, and they pushed it above that level, 41,950. Couldn't quite do, excuse me, that was on Friday. Couldn't get there today. I think really to see your next move in Bitcoin, not only need to get up to that 41K level, but at least establish one close above it. I'm looking at the futures here. The high close for the rebound has been 40,455. Another thing to keep in mind is the reason we had that big bump in Bitcoin. I believe it was Monday on last week. It was a weekend move, and it was predicated on Amazon getting into the cryptocurrency and accepting that as payment. That hasn't happened yet. So the fundamental reason, or what we thought was a fundamental reason behind the move, has not come out. So that's my take. Pulling back. I'm not shorting it, but not looking for a little bit more of a pullback here. I know that gap is not right because it traded overnight, but hanging in here, I guess. For if you want a positive note for your C note, let's just hang here at 40 and a half, 39 and a half, 40. Form a little bit of a base, form some lows in this area, then make the push up.
Yeah, Ken's having a great day apparently. Joel, I gotta ask you, did you have solar panels on your Rocket Mortgage bingo card?
I saw that a little bit of expansion. I saw the news. The street liked it. You want to give
they liked it for a moment.
Yeah, well, that's the street for you.
Yep.
What was the actual announcement? I saw that
they're launching a solar panel business. They're getting into the solar panel game. That's the news. They're going to leverage, all their data they already have, and I guess their customer technology that they already have, and they're going to get into solar panels. They're going to start testing in the fourth quarter. We'll be selling solar panels to the public early next year.
Online retail, I can't believe they're going to do.
I can't imagine they do retail. It'll all be online.
Yeah,
I mean, it makes some sense. They sell mortgages. Why not also sell other stuff for your home?
Yeah, and I mean, they sure got the database here, and I'm sure they've done a lot of research into this to make the move. You needed a catalyst to get it, off the lows, almost match the pre-market low. The good news is you worked your way up towards $19. You had a gap here from earnings between 1857 and 1871. Got right in the middle of today, 1865, and now you're backing off. So backed off quite a bit. So if you're leading on this for a swing trade, you got the low, the old-time low that was made near the IPO. Remember, we had to adjust this because of the dividend. 1622, you got the 1645 in July and now up. So let's hang in here a couple more days. Doesn't look like we're going to go back to that lower 17 handle. But let's hang in here a couple more days and maybe make a push into 19. Above 19, you have a pair of highs at 1932, 1933. Another thing to keep in mind is they're starting the business. When it's going to be an actual business, when, if they could just integrate the operations that they have so they have a, low expenses. But it could take some time. Did they come up with a clever name for it?
I didn't actually see that.
See that? Okay.
What, like rocket panels? No, I don't have no idea. No, I didn't see anything. Also, Joel, I know you saw. Two things I really want to talk to you about besides rocket. Square. Yeah.
Woo!
Right. My hunch was it was related to comments that the CFO made on CNBC at like 9:20, 9:15, somewhere in that ballpark. But yeah, just Rip City, right?
Yeah, and that they beat this up. The street could care less that that they paid a big premium for it. We were looking at this now. It had come off the low in the pre-market. But we were talking. I mean, I took my eye off this thing, and the only thing that I really saw, because it was moving up, was the only thing I was looking at the close. Could it get above the close? And that close from was 247.26. You opened 47.93. If you were short and looking for more and you didn't take that closing price, then you got stuffed. You got absolutely stuffed. This went to 280.88 on the comments, and now pulling back 70, currently under 274. So this is a big range day. I think what you might see in this is a couple days of consolidation. I don't think it's going to whoosh right back down to that area. And then I think there might be some people like, okay, this is going to take some time to happen. Get a couple days of consolidation. This high here, 279.01, wasn't looking too good when it went to 280.88, but surely not a bad sell now. Huge volume on the day too. 7.5 million on Friday. We're going to trade over 42 million easy on Square. They like the deal, or they like the comments that the CEO made about the deal.
Yeah, CFO. But yeah, I mean, it's just so funny how it was, obviously we're used to stocks trading lower after they announce that they're buying someone. That's typical. But it's not typical to see just that kind of a reversal immediately at like the same morning, right? It's not typical to see that.
The other thing to note of that is, the old early morning panic low, that 4 a.m. low. I mean, that is eons ago. And if you look at it, I mean, it came down near that area, maybe between 8 and 9. But man, once it took out, I mean, even if you were just going, okay, if this takes out the pre-market high, I'm getting long. The pre-market high, 48.44. Took that out easy. Of course, you never know what kind of comments. Usually when these CEOs come on, they usually don't say anything bad.
Yeah, that's true.
But you just don't know if they're going to say anything that's super good. S&P's on the low of the session. We just ticked 82.25, trying to rebound.
And Joel, I know you saw GE. I see days like GE today are why trading will make you want to bang your head against the wall, because you guys were you ended up being spot on. You said it looks juicy for a short. You would have had to take a little bit of heat on that.
Blown out. Yeah.
But eventually you would have been right.
Yeah, I mean, this thing caught a bid. I think most people, when it got up to over that 107, they're thinking, "Hey, why not try this double top here?" Is something that we pointed out. Instead, it just got over that low from Thursday. Using your daily lows would have been a helper here. 107.04. Only took that out by 17 cents, and then they flushed it pretty good. Parallels at 101.04 that it took out, but now trying to get back above that. Basis to daily charts. I mean, now that you're 1 for 8, I mean, you got a lot of air in here. Let's see what happens. Still a buck off the low of the session. Just don't like the thinness here. I'm not saying it's going to 96, but that was a big move. Now you're $100 stock, a lot thinner. It's not going to have those huge institutional bids. They're going to be an eighth the size of the other ones are.
No, though. It is going to have. Wasn't that the point? It is going to have institutional bids.
But they're going to have less stock.
Well, okay, but
I mean, you're not going to see on $100. I mean, there used to be huge orders there. If there was an 80,000 share order before, right?
Sure. But maybe also, and I'm just trying to understand where their head is at. You entice more institutions by having $100 stock over a $13 stock. I don't know.
Entice it to short it. I don't know.
I don't know.
I mean, a lot of I mean, they wanted volatility in their stock, and they're getting exactly what they wanted. How does it change the fundamentals of GE? That we don't know. It's just a price change. It's still GE. They're still going to have earnings or lack of. They're still going to have their tepid growth rate. They're still going to have their problems. So, theoretically, these reverse splits aren't good for a company. In the long run, it's not something when you split a stock, 2 for 1 or 3 for 10 for 1 is usually a sign of strength. Reverse splits is usually a sign of weakness.
Okay, job tickers in the chat. We'll take a look. As a reminder, we do have Alibaba reporting earnings tomorrow morning. That is top of mind right now of all the reports tomorrow, and there are a handful of big ones in the morning. That is the one that is most important. Probably you have Eli Lilly's tomorrow, Under Armour's tomorrow morning. This is all tomorrow morning, by the way. Clorox, Marriott, Phillips 66, but I'm again really only interested in Alibaba.
You think though, with all the rhetoric that's been going on, you think the earnings are going to be as important?
Oh no, I should clarify. I do not care about the numbers at all. I could not care less about what the numbers are. I only care about comments from the executives. That's all I care about. What are they going to say? They're probably, if history is any guide, they're probably going to disappoint me and say absolutely nothing. But
right.
There is a chance that they say something, and that's what I want to know. I do not care about the numbers. Last quarter was probably amazing, blah, 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 whatever. Numbers are what they are. No. What are they going to say about this new climate that we're in? That's all that matters. That is all that matters.
Yeah, new climate. Now it's a cooperative climate, as China said they want more cooperation on the IPOs. They don't mind the dual listing. I mean, the only thing that the reason Baba had their turn, right? Supposedly, with the regulators, and
we all thought that.
We thought that, but then it was they threw the baby out with the bathwater on that. It will move, and those earnings obviously will come out while we're sleeping. I mean, there's still some gaps to fill. Gap up to it's still at 203.58 in that area. And then there's another larger one between 206.89 and 212.60. I think if you do get like a good pop in these things, all your short-term traders that perhaps pick this up over 185, they just might, with all the uncertainty looming of exactly what China is going to do, I could see profit taking on a pop. On a dip, as well, I mean, buy the dip usually works down to a couple lows here right in the same area. So if you're dipping and you see this, they're not even that. Oh, yeah, 190, 190.49, Friday's low. Wednesday's low, 189.96. That's a ways away. But if they get things going for the downside, keep an eye on ahead of 190. The low of the move is quite a bit lower there at 179.67.
Quentin Corner, that's certainly where my head is at, right? As Baba goes tomorrow, so will everybody else. That's certainly where my head is at. Yes. In theory, so Baba goes up, they go up. Baba goes down, they go down.
All right, what else do we got reporting? Just to take a look at
yeah, sure. Here's the calendar for this week, and again, it's accurate with the exception of you got to take a square off your calendar for Thursday because they reported yesterday. But tomorrow you've got Lyft, you got Activision Blizzard. That should be interesting because they've had a very interesting few weeks. We've got Akamai, we've got Hyatt. We got Marriott and Hyatt tomorrow. Interesting. Will be interesting to see what they say with regards to how their current capacity relates to pre-COVID levels. Avis Budget Group, that'll be an interesting one. The inflation on rental cars is probably not sustainable, but we'll see what they say about that. Those are kind of the big reports for tomorrow. Somebody in chat asked about Uber. David Knowles asked about Uber. They report Wednesday after the close. Uber looked at this one, I think, on Friday, maybe Thursday. Can't remember what we said about it.
Expensive, man. These Ubers are, man. We ended up taking them. First of all, they've squeezed the cabs out in Philadelphia. I mean, absolutely no cabs around. I don't know what it's like in New York City, but you couldn't catch a cab to save your life.
Interesting.
And
they're not cheap, right?
They're not cheap.
Say it. Yeah.
They're not cheap. They're not cheap at all.
Yeah, they're not. They're really not.
Everyone, everyone getting their little cuts. I mean, they're fairly efficient, but like the old days of standing on a street corner and whistling and catching a cabbie's
I know.
attention.
I know. I know you love to whistle. So
I know. I
I
miss those days. So
I know.
I mean, Uber, they better beat. They better beat. They better raise. The reason is because Uber is at a very important inflection point. You had a low in Uber in May, 43.17. Last month's low, 43.34. This month's low, 43.45. So, hey, this is not good for the reopening. Spoons just a little blast lower here. We're now decent in the green, in the red here by 0.25% after being up as much earlier. So getting not a good Monday here for the market, giving back a lot of gains. Still in this trading range and still nowhere near Friday's low, 43.70.75. So nice little trading range here developing in the S&Ps. I don't know if it's going to be a snooze fest for the last of the week after some Monday fireworks, but definitely turned back near all-time highs, as well as that all-time closing high is 14 and a quarter. The intraday high from today is 14. Our 24-hour high comes in at 1975. So I did the Uber Lyft the same way. I mean, these are reopening trades. Lyft having a little bit better of a day. This really has a big area of resistance. So 57.73 was your high on July 14th. Last week on Thursday, 57.53. And your thoughts had some hope today when you went to 57.76, but right back down. As much as interesting, as good levels that you have on the upside, you have some good levels on the downside too. And we're right here, almost right, 54. 54.76, your low on Friday. Low on Friday, 55.09. Today, 54.76. Thursday, 54.81. And we're just hanging out down here. So under this, that we'll just use the lowest of the lows, 54.81. You could see a buck drop off those earnings to 53.71. But staying well off the low of the move. Of course, that COVID low was under $20.
And Joel, did you see the sell the news? I think it's fair to say sell the news in the infrastructure stocks today, because we did not even talk about, and we got some heat in the chat this morning for not even mentioning the infrastructure bill. I guess we have some bipartisan agreement finally on that, and that progressed over the weekend, I guess actually late last night. And infrastructure stocks were all higher this morning, but if you look around today, you look at Honeywell, you look at the transport, the Union Pacific, et cetera, your Boeing, your U.S. Steel, all that, Caterpillar, all that stuff, all reversed hard today.
I mean, it always seems like they're passing it. It always seems like it's official, and then you hear they voted on it again, or some derivation of it. Honeywell makes new all-time high in reverses. That's not a good sign. If you want to remain confident in Honeywell, keep an eye on 232. We're right there right now. Low on Friday. Oh boy, 3 lows right in that area. So mark the spot there. Honeywell must hold at 232. We're looking for some more downside in that one. X, which usually trades pretty technically, sure did today, except if you were looking for Friday's high at 26.67, got turned back at 26.55, and now actually through Friday's low. So not just, it is. I'll give you a fact there. Sell the news, and it looks like the momentum has turned to the downside in these infrastructure stocks. X, until you can get into that 27 handle, path of least resistance lower.
X goes ex dividend. on Friday. So yeah, 4 days. That's Friday, right? Yeah. So anyone trading X, just so you know, it goes X dividend later this week. So have that on your radar. 5 minutes into the close here, and it is a decidedly mixed day out there.
Yeah.
Utilities are strong, the banks are strong, discretionary is strong. Like we just said, industrials and materials are weak. It all comes down to a slightly lower day for the overall market, but you got no real patterns. Decent amount of red, decent amount of green out there.
Right. I think the big surprise here, and I know Chevron had earnings. Now we're red. You got that price target raise at Raymond James, and the bots and some of the momentum traders ran with that. But boom, you came up to Friday's high, stopped dead in the track. So not a good day after trading nearly 104. Now trading in the red. That down moving crude finally caught up with it, but major resistance. I'm sure sellers will be stepping down on 104. So I know Raymond James has a 125 price target. Little optimistic. They're going to need a full reopening trade. Everyone to be driving and filling up their vehicles, and may have the reopen, but doesn't look like Raymond James is getting their way with CVX today.
And then NFT stocks, Joel. It's been a while since we've talked about them, but they are all blasting off. And I saw a headline earlier today, and I'll read you the headline. The headline was "Weekly NFT trade volume surpasses $300 million for the first time." This is according to The Block. I'm talking tickers like DLPN. I'm talking tickers like HOFV. Right, I'm talking like TKAT. This whole group, all blasting off today. I think all on that headline. That it's funny because I honestly, I will admit I'm not super in tune to the NFT space. I'm just passively aware of it. But it's been a while since we talked about it. I didn't realize that I kind of thought the NFTs, for the moment at least, had peaked a few months ago with the NBA Top Shot and all that stuff, and I hadn't heard about Top Shot in literally months. And I guess I didn't realize that people were still spending a lot of money on NFTs.
Yep, and you had a little tip off here today as far as that move goes, because your Ethereum trading well, right?
Yeah,
and,
what? It's a great point, Joel. Ethereum is up 50%. 50% in the last week and a half or 2 weeks.
There you go. Yeah. And as we mentioned this morning, this was trading different than Bitcoin. Broke above the top of its trading range and keep on going. This is still a little area. I put this in 728, so you still cleared it. We do have some other resistance. Looks like you have a pretty clear path. Well, not an extremely clear path, but the next major resistance I see comes in right at this 2650 to 2670 area. The best we could do today is, you did get there, 2681. Backing off a little bit, but Ethereum definitely outperforming Bitcoin today.
Yeah, and what is the isn't the update scheduled for this week or next week? I just dropped a banner on the screen there of all these quote unquote NFT stocks. If you're interested, and if you don't know what I'm talking about, there are 6 tickers on the screen right now that they all tend to trade together. So if you're watching DLPN,
yeah, what are they? They're DLPN.
Yep, HOFV, which I should also mention is the stock for the Hall of Fame. It's Hall of Fame Resorts, which owns the Hall of Fame Village in Canton, Ohio, which is hosting the Hall of Fame game this very Friday.
Oh, is it this? Wow, that's right. It's always early in August. That's right.
Football is around the corner, Joel. And so TKAT is your other crazy high flyer. Playboy. I didn't look at Playboy today. How is it doing?
You know what? That's kind of sleepy.
Oh, that is sleepy.
Yeah, that's had the big pullback. Wow, got near $65 and pulling back. I don't know if it's just kind of a little bit of a delayed reaction here. But we'll get excited about Playboy when it clears 30. And it clears it for good. A bunch of highs, 30.17, 30.18, 30 and a quarter. So there's your bogey. Didn't even get near that today. So not a great relative performance by Playboy. Consolidating. I don't know if it's going to kick in the day after, but you would have today kind of been like the shoulda, coulda, woulda day for Playboy if you're looking at with the other stocks in the sector. Definitely lagging. But a little bit different technical makeup as this thing was that what month was that? Boom, boom, boom. Went in May, 63.04, desperately clinging to this support. What's been the low of the move? The low of the recent move has been 26.86. So good support at 27. We're closed, Spencer Israel.
Hey, time flies. And just Andrew Garver, I'm not ignoring you. Well, I am ignoring you because I don't know why GPN reversed hard. So I was not. I was ignoring you, Andrew, because I don't know what to. I've been spending the last 15 minutes looking for an answer to your question, and I don't know. So
Global payments.
Sorry, it was a great report. They raised the guidance. They announced the buyback. They did all the good stuff, and yeah. So.
I mean, technically, it took out that low of the move at 185. But I guess the only thing that I could say, and I this is just looking for possible reasons. Maybe they're maybe the Square Afterpay thing
could be. It could be.
Yeah,
but I'll be honest. I really don't know. I really don't know.
But it hit that resistance at 195, and now that former low of the move 184.38 is going to be your resistance. Not good. Taking out these two monthly lows too for global payment. Not looking for a bounce back day tomorrow after a big red bar like that.
All right, please remember all the information from our show is meant to be used as informational purposes, not for investing or trading advice. Joel, we'll see you tomorrow. Good to have you back.
All right, thank you.
All righty. And with that said, I'm going to hop off here. And Money Mitch is going live right now. He spoke to Ann Hand, the chairman and CEO of Super League Gaming. You all might. It's a pretty popular ticker among the retail crowd. SLGG, right? The interview is coming up live on Money Mitch right now, and everyone get excited because we did figure out the redirect. If you didn't notice it by now. Actually, I say we. It was producer Aaron Thomas behind me who figured out the redirect. So this stream will end, and it will redirect you to Money Mitch, which is starting now. Everyone, have a good rest of your day. And stay green.